In case you haven't heard, a federal agency called the CPSC has issued a recall and warning regarding Onewheels. Perfect timing given that I just purchased my brand new Onewheel GT after months of waiting for Future Motion to work out the first generation kinks that often come with a new product release. In this video, I'll share 10 reasons why I feel the Onewheel GT is and is not safe to buy right now, and then I'll end with a few thoughts regarding the CPSC's recall of the Onewheel.
Is the Onewheel GT safe to buy yet? Well, I just bought one. The Onewheel GT is the flagship Onewheel. It's the fastest, it's the longest range, it's the most powerful Onewheel to date, yet I am just getting mine now, months after release. And I'm gonna be talking about why that is. If you've been following the channel, you'll know that a few months ago, I purchased a brand new Onewheel GT, but I ended up returning it because there were issues of dead on arrival boards that were ghosting or riding without a rider. And I just didn't want to deal with those headaches. So in that video, I talked about why I was returning the Onewheel GT, and I made a promise that once those issues were fixed and once the Onewheel was safe to ride, then I would buy it again. And here it is. After we get this out of the box, let's talk about the 10 reasons why the Onewheel GT is and is not safe to buy. Future Motion does a good job with minimalistic packaging that is not too bad for the environment. The next level is here. One thing that is noticeably missing from this that came with all the other Onewheels before this, no business cards. This is a good looking device. I just want to make sure it powers on. So to power it on, the power button and the light bar. And I just want to make sure it works. Lazy activation. Okay. I'm gonna throw this on the charger, get a freshly charged battery, then we're gonna go ride. So let's jump right into it and talk about the 10 reasons why the Onewheel GT is and is not safe to buy. Number 1 and number 2. The dead on arrival boards and the ghosting boards. The dead and the ghosting Onewheel problem, that spooked me. That's why I returned my Onewheel GT, but it looks like now that that problem has been resolved. When you look on social media, discussion boards, these reports are very few and far between. We sat down with Kyle Dirksen. I asked him about the launch issues, and this is what he said.
Redesigned the foot pad in ways in addition to adding more test coverage for it. Once we saw what was happening in the field, and then obviously ran that recall, which was really successful. Of course, all the new boards have the updated foot pad on there. So, and as I recall, that's why you sent back your GT. So what do we need to do to get you on a GT?
They told me that they've made significant changes to improve the Onewheel. That helped my confidence in this board. Number 3, the Onewheel GT, when it first released, the ride was pretty harsh. The pushback was very strong. And so over time, they fine-tuned the algorithm so that the riding experience and the pushback is much improved. And that's the beauty with over-the-air updates that can update the machine on the fly. 4th reason, this is the safest Onewheel ever made. The biggest motor, the biggest battery, audible alerts, finely tuned pushback, safety margin that gives you more room for error and also makes this harder to nosedive. The next thing about this Onewheel GT, Onewheels in the past, the water resistance was very variable. Some of them were pretty water resistant, others just the threat of water or rain would cause them to break. Whereas these, I feel like the quality control is much more consistent across the board. And then the number 6 reason why I think the Onewheel GT is safe to buy now, it used to be if you needed a tire repair on this, you'd have to send it back to Future Motion in order to have them change out the tire. Not so anymore. In fact, you can actually go on the Future Motion website and they sell the tools that you need to swap out the tires. And for those reasons, I feel like the Onewheel GT is safe to buy now. But there are several reasons why the Onewheel GT is not safe to buy. And we'll talk about why the Onewheel GT is not safe to buy. Okay, pro tip. Don't throw away your Onewheel box because you're going to need it if ever you need a warranty claim or some servicing and you need to send it back to Future Motion. You're going to have a box to send it back in. One reason why the Onewheel may not be safe to buy right now, the only place you can have this serviced is in their single service station in California. So if you live in Europe, Australia, somewhere far away from California, it's going to cost a lot to send it back. So don't throw it away. hold on to those boxes. Okay, let's see what we have in these boxes. I believe this is from Landslide, the Trunk Saver. EVA foam. Hold your Onewheel GT in your truck, in your trunk of your car. You could buy one on Amazon.com, and if you have Prime, it'll be at your doorstep the next day. So this is a nice grippy surface so that it doesn't slide around in your trunk. If you have a Onewheel and you have a car, then you need one of these. It's from the Float Life, and they sent it to Jimmy Chang over at Fully Charged. Thank you, Jeff. Except Fully Charged, that YouTube name was already taken, so we are freshly charged here at this channel. Big shout out to the folks over at Float Life. Jeff was the first one to support the channel back when I had 100 subscribers. Woo! Looky here. Take a look at this. Wow. This is the Enduro tire that everyone's talking about. It comes with some goodies. Oh wow, this is very cool. It's a coin of some sort, and it's got the Onewheels on there. And on the other side, who is that? Let me know if you guys know who that is. Look at this foot pad, the cush wide. You can see how the sides flare out, giving you more surface area on this concave surface. Grip tape is very grippy. The stock foot pad, instead of flaring out, they taper in. You're losing some real estate for your feet. And it's not a solid piece of rubber. It's got this hexagonal pattern on the inside, and that's to cut down on weight. But wait, there's more. These are the Float Life's sidekicks. These are important if you don't want to scratch up your rails. I'm really excited to be making Onewheel content again. This board, the Onewheel GT, it's not easily serviceable. In fact, if you were to try to unplug the battery internally, Future Motion has built in some things to make this not easily repaired, and so it goes against the whole right to repair movement, and I know a lot of people are upset with that. But there are more reasons why the Onewheel GT may not be safe. So let's get our safety gear on, we're gonna go ride, and let's talk about those things. What do you guys prefer? Treaded, like what Andrew got, or slick, like what I got? I do love Onewheeling. Yeah, there's something to be said about the Onewheel. It may not be the fastest personal electric vehicle. It may not go the farthest, but it's got this unique vibe about it that you can't replicate in any of the mass-produced electric personal vehicles. It's not about the speed. It's not about getting to your destination as fast as possible. It's about the journey, and that's the Onewheel. The GT definitely has more power behind it to go up these hills. It does come with risks, but everything comes with risks. If we wanted to live a risk-free life, then we wouldn't cross the street. We wouldn't get in a car. But we find ways to minimize those risks. When we cross the street, we look both ways. When we get in a car, we buckle up, we follow the traffic laws. We try to follow the rules of the Onewheel. We don't push it beyond the limits of the board and beyond the limits of our skill. And if you do that, the Onewheel is gonna be a ton of fun, and it's gonna be pretty darn safe. It's good to have a Onewheel GT in my life again. Let's talk about the last two reasons why the Onewheel GT may not be safe for some. The Onewheel GT is also the heaviest of all the Onewheels. Try carrying around 36 pounds for long periods of time. Granted, you have two options. You've got the mag handle and you have the front nose handle, but it's still 36 pounds. And then the last reason with all Onewheels, while there are great safety measures on this board, it still can be overpowered. So make sure to respect your skills, make sure to respect the limitations of the board. It is probably one of the funnest rides around, and now Onewheel has made the safest Onewheel that we've ever tested or ridden.
Please understand that my opinions regarding the Onewheel are mine alone, and your decision to purchase and ride is something you must decide for yourself. Just know that the CPSC has warned customers to stop using the Onewheel. In their official statement, they said the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, CPSC, is warning consumers about the risk of death and serious injury with Future Motion's Onewheel self-balancing electric skateboards. CPSC urges consumers to immediately stop using all Onewheel models. Having owned 6 Onewheels and having experienced several Onewheel related injuries myself and to my family and friends, let me try to share my thoughts on the CPSC recall. If you're like me, you've probably never heard of the CPSC until recently. They are a federal regulatory agency that has been tasked to protect the public against unreasonable risks of injuries and deaths associated with consumer products. Can the Onewheel be the cause of unreasonable risk and injury? Yes, but almost always when ridden incorrectly or pushed beyond the limitations of the device and beyond the skill level of the rider. However, a number of activities can be the cause of unreasonable risk and injury for the exact same reasons. I recently went on a mountain biking trip to Moab, Utah with 8 friends who happened to be very experienced mountain bike riders. Come to Moab with us, they said. It will be fun, they told me. So I gave in to peer pressure. But as my first ever serious mountain biking trip, let me tell you, from the get-go, I realized I was in way over my head. Even though I had rented an excellent mountain bike, the gear could not make up for my lack of skill. Was this mountain biking trip dangerous for my experienced mountain biking buddies? Not really. They flew through the trails without any problems. Was the risk of injury high for me? Heck yeah. I was unfamiliar with the rental bike and my lack of mountain biking skill showed as I tried to maneuver down steep drops and along single track with nerve-wracking exposure. Yet, I accepted the risks to go on that trip, and fortunately for me, I took my time and made it through with only minor injuries. All activities carry a certain amount of risk, the Onewheel included. However, being a new device in board sport, the Onewheel doesn't get grandfathered in as a socially acceptable risk like other potentially dangerous activities such as skateboarding, surfing, motorcycling, and even bull riding, and thus the Onewheel has become the target of the CPSC. Obviously, this recall has more nuance and detail that cannot be covered in this short video, but let me know your thoughts on the recall by the CPSC in the comments below. I accept the risks when I ride the Onewheel GT, and I minimize unnecessary risks by wearing safety gear and riding within the limits of the Onewheel and within the limits of my skill. And as a reward for my risk, I get to experience an amazing device that has brought me so much joy.
We look forward to riding our Onewheels more and making more videos about the Onewheel GT. Let us know what kind of videos you guys want to see on the Onewheel GT.